I'll show you how it's done. Shazam!
Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back to Underdeveloped here, and today we have a review for you for the movie Problemista, directed by Julio Torres, also starring Julio Torres. Julio Torres.
Yeah, I was about to say, I thought it was
Julio. Yes, I Americanized it for a second. Julio Torres is a comedian, and we saw another film like last year about a comedian, and that was called The Machine, and that was by Bert Kreischer. This film is way better, but also a very different kind of film anyways.
Yeah, they have very different styles of comedy.
Exactly. It's kind of faded to be better because of the more creative, risk. While he was trying to make more of a straightforward, fun, crazy kind of movie.
Yeah, well, this is really clearly more artistic when Julio wrote this.
Yeah.
Like, Julio wrote this script with a whole bunch of stuff
And personal as well. This movie was fucking good. Honestly.
Yeah,
it was
really
it's really good. And the more I think about it, the more I like it.
Same.
Because certain movies you like it a lot, and then it gets less and less. More you think about it, this one actually, it was decent. When at first I was like, I like this, and just some interesting takes. Some of it I didn't get, like some of the comedic styles. But as I really thought about it, you know what I mean? Okay, I get it. And more I think about it, actually, and the ending, and once the ending sunk in, is like, okay, yeah, this movie is fucking good. It's really a nice coming of age, and it's very relatable. It's almost very raw. You know, it kind of goes to it almost like I'm writing a story right now, which is kind of similar in terms of like capturing what it's like to be a kid with aspirations and goals, living within this modern generation. You know what I mean? Like dealing with living in New York City, rent, being an outcast, trying to get into a very gated community, which for him is Hasbro.
Yeah.
For mine, it's the film industry. Mm-hmm. And it's something that I relate to, and it's also something that not only that I relate to, but something that a lot of people can relate to, even that doesn't want to be any kind of artist, any kind of creative job, any kind of big job, is usually a very gated community. So it's like you want to. So like it's really hard to navigate. So he kind of captured that, and he also does like things that it's not necessary, but it's just it shows the depths of his creativity in the way, like, because he doesn't have to like do like certain things. Like for example, there's some scenes, especially with Tilda Swinton, where she's kind of going on her rant. She's a very ranty character.
Yes,
very very manic, very out there. And the way he processes people coming at him, he kind of envisions her and him in hell. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's something that then does, especially visually, to go through all the in production, to go through all that just for that, just to capture his head.
Like, it's
not necessary, but it's something to show that, hey, I'm actually thinking about everything I'm doing, and I can really appreciate stuff like that. And it actually was really funny. But that was really what the funny was really just in the things that she was talking about. You know what I mean? Like her like learning, this running thing. Oh, do you know Film Pro? You know what I mean? Like whatever else is like, and then the other kid it's File Pro, File Pro, whatever. But she got confused with Film Pro in the movie a couple times actually, because that was brought up.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and it's things like that just really funny, and the way he just processes it is just those are really really fun, relatable scenes. Mm-hmm. It's just and also this movie not only was funny, but it had some really like that whole scene with him and that dude that made him clean. Like just the depths that he's willing to go to make some money to stay in the country. Yeah, it's really actually really sad and very realistic. Almost filled me with things, not filming, but it kind of made me feel a little anxious, a little anxiety, because like, this is like, it showed how real it is. Like this poor kid is really going through it. You know what I mean? Like having to fucking do this weird fucking
it's like super fetishy,
super weird sex thing. It is so awkward. And you know what I mean, you just feel like, this kid's really going through it. I hope there's something at the end of the circle for him. You know what I mean? Like, it was intense. You know what I mean. And then also this him having to sublet and not sleep in his couch, and then him having to fucking get a job where he has to like pitch. You know what I mean? Like what you call those fucking things? I had to pitch something for like here. Yeah, he had to pitch something in the street. Not pitch, but he had to like.
Oh yeah, he was like selling people some hair
selling
products.
People hair products or whatever else. Yeah, like in the street. You know what I mean? Like, and you sucking at that. Like that's a job that I would like hate to do in real life.
Oh yeah,
that would be the fucking worst.
Yeah,
you know
just
what I mean?
imagine bothering people in the street all day.
Yeah, that's like because I feel for them. Like, because I'm like this. I'm not, and everyone is like that. So imagine having that job. We always have to interrupt people while they're just trying to get to where they gotta go and don't really want to hear you. You know. Mm-hmm. But when you get desperate enough, you would take a job like that. Like I had a friend who took a job like that because he had to make some money. and it wasn't great. You know what I mean? But once you get to a certain point of desperation, you're willing to do anything. You know?
Yeah. And
And it also deal with immigration. Like immigration wasn't really a part. Like it was a part of the film, but it wasn't a story about his immigration.
No,
It's just something. It was just something that was there.
it was more of a timer just to make things happen at a certain
exactly.
time. Because you had a month to get all this
they
done.
even compared it to like an hourglass. Like once this goes, you know what I mean? Like
you go poof, and people did go poof in this movie. That's fucking funny.
Yeah. There's another sense of visual representation. But even what I mean, it was like it was there, but it wasn't really it wasn't like. It wasn't really about that. It wasn't really. It's just something that's there. You know what I mean? To like flesh out the world to show that it's just more people in the world than just white people, whatever else.
It's just there to
what I mean?
add
Like,
pressure for the character, really.
yeah,
That's
pressure,
it.
but it's also just a part of his life.
It is.
You know what I mean? Just him being him. So it doesn't take the forefront, even though it's there and it is a driving force. It's not like at the forefront. And like it isn't it isn't a thing that makes him unique, basically.
Definitely not.
Because in movies like that, where the character's not like white, you know what I mean? Like not become that white people, but I'm just being real. When it's not white, you know what I mean? It kind of becomes all about either the sexuality or their fucking. And this kid was gay, I guess. You know what I mean? So he was gay and he was fucking Hispanic. So it was like, you know what I mean? So it was like in movies like that, that usually be such a huge driving factor in his personality. You know what I mean? The fact that I'm ethnically different. You know what I mean? So that has to be explored. No, it's just something that was there. It is almost like it's just normal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's something that was really done well, and I really appreciate that because that shows you that hey, that's just ethnicity. It does nothing to do with the person I am. It was his quirks and his personality. You know what I mean? That kind of made him shine. You know what I mean?
It
so
really
he didn't
was.
even need the ethnic part of it. That's why it's something that's just there, and I thought that was
it's just the writer, screenwriter, and actor being authentic to who he is, basically. Just kind of bringing that forward. And honestly, I think like that's part of what makes this movie kind of unique in a way because like just how this character is portrayed and how use of visual storytelling really kind of gives an inner look into him because I don't know how Julio Torres' normal comedic stylings are, but this character is not really the most expressive, at least except for like a couple key scenes where he gets very expressive. So, but most of his expressions are kind of conveyed through these like really creative scenes where he's like kind of interpreting what's going on. Like he visualizes talking to Elizabeth as fighting with a Hydra. How he visualizes going on Craigslist as like talking to this weird pervy guy who's giving him all sorts of job listings. Like those instances allow us to feel what he's feeling because he can't really show us what he's feeling because it's not that expressive about most of the movie. Yeah. So this is a very great way to kind of like supplement that.
And that's great writing and that's great directing because you know what I mean? Like a lot of movies, especially Hollywood movies, are very dialogue centric. And this is always a medium where visual is art. Mm-hmm. We don't want to be told everything. We kind of just want to experience it for ourselves. Kind of like with a painting. Painting is so abstract. You have to it's left to interpretation just like this. It's just art. So it's like the more visual representation, the better. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So we can kind of like, make something of it ourselves. You know what I mean? It leaves more left room for imagination and creativity. So it's like with things like that, even though we kind of know what's going on, it doesn't have to. And this is more different because we kind of know what's going on without having to be told what's going on. And in that way, it's kind of really powerful because we could see it, we could feel it instead of just being told that the character's feeling this way. We kind of see how this character got to where he is and how he's feeling in the moment without even having to speak. And it kind of becomes like we're just living fluidly through his life. Mm-hmm.
Very true.
You know what I mean? Like it just comes very fluid. I'm like almost like to the point where like I am doing this with him, because I'm literally feeling everything he's doing. You know what I mean? So that's why it's good in those moments and scenes like that and movies like this. You know what I mean? More. And also, as you said, it relates to real life because he's not a person that can express himself. So he tailored the movie to kind of get into that, to kind of express that side of himself. Yeah. To help you understand him more, like how he really feels when he's going through these kind of moments in his life. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You know. Yeah. So yeah, I think just the level of direction and writing is really solid. And on top of that, Tilda Swinton gives pretty much an Oscar-worthy performance. Like she gave herself to this movie.
Yeah, I loved her in this.
Yeah, she was great. This is easily one of her best performances, and she's a good actor. So.
Oh yeah, she really was this like meat. She really was just so fucking extra in this movie, and it was just so funny. And it paired very well with the main lead because he was like, again, they're opposites, so they naturally match well. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They have great chemistry. Yeah. Like, honestly, this movie is... I knew I was going to like this movie when I saw the trailer, but I didn't really know how much until I actually, like, sat down and saw it. Because ultimately, I feel like this movie is kind of like the ultimate outsiders movie. Like, anyone who's, like, super weird, out there, and creative, like... Because this is very much a movie celebrating the bond of what it feels like to, like... When you really meet someone that's kind of like you in that specific way, where you're both kind of the outskirts, you both have these very kind of out there ideas, and you just kind of like know each other and meet each other, form a bond over it. Like, because like Alejandro and Elizabeth form that kind of special bond, and that's even what got her married to Reza in the first place. You know, because they had that kind of bond also. Like, they kind of, in a world where everyone's like not really looking at them for who they are, they're fully seeing each other, and they don't really think too much less about each other for it. Even though everyone else sees Tilda Swinton like, oh, she's a monster, she's the worst. But Alejandro never really saw her as that, because he recognized part of himself in her, and that's part of what makes them both bring out the better aspects of each other a lot better. Like, it really makes the whole ring true for me, like, near the end of the movie. Yeah. Do we have anything else to say, or can we just jump to scores?
No, we can jump to scores.
Okay.
I mean, I guess a 95. I think it's great.
Honestly, I was going to go with a 90. Just because,
just like what they gave? Okay.
Yeah, like, that was the number I've been kind of hovering about, because there are, like, some minor things I think that could have been done a little better. Like, because they have this whole big thing in the beginning of the movie where it's more prominent that the whole ticking time bomb aspect, you know, the whole, like, clock, the whole hourglass, sand falling, like, that's, like, a strong motif that felt like kind of gets dropped halfway through, only to suddenly come back. I feel like it would have been even stronger if we had that little extra pressure, that having more of that in the movie. That movie just kind of, like, really intensifying how stressful some things are.
The whole movie was him going through pressure, but okay.
I mean, it was, but I'm like, this was great, but you could have done a little more. Okay. That's basically what I'm saying. Like,
I think I'm standing strong on my 95, but sure. Yeah.
Awesome. Like, yeah, but anyways, either way, this is a really fun movie. It's a movie that uses surreality to express reality, and it does that
very
excellently.
Surreal, very surreal. And it's kind of an age of, like, surrealism portrayed in normal mundane, not mundane, but like normal life.
Yeah.
Like, Atlanta is big on the surreal. You know, you, like,
definitely.
You question what the is this all really happening? Which is kind of the whole premise of the finale, and pretty much. Mm-hmm. Like, it's what's really happening. Are we really here? No.
But yeah, I generally like movies. If you like movies like that in the slightest, then Problemista is going to be a really fun time for you. It is an easy recommend. So by all means, go see it. Go check out your local movie theater. Support your local movie theater and always watch a damn good movie. And of course, make sure to hit the like, subscribe button, and we'll catch you next time for some more content.